How's it going, guys? Caden here from Stetler Survival, and welcome back to The Bunker, where we sit down with folks from the survival community and have real conversations about the lessons they've learned and preparedness in today's world. And today, I have Nick Keene from Nick's Quick Reviews here in The Bunker with me. How you doing tonight, buddy?
Hey, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. So, obviously everybody else isn't going to see this, but this is now the second recording because every time Nick and I try to have a conversation, it's something on my end happens. And I technical issues, man. And we joked yesterday about it, so we have to again. This is why we're meant to be out in the woods and not messing with computers. But here we are. We'll give it a try again. So I believe you and I met through the Frontier Survival Family page. That's Heath Ward's project.
That sounds right.
I've met so many great folks through there, and I was instantly kind of drawn to what you're doing because it's really no BS reviews of gear. And I love that right away. You know, I don't want to watch people spend 10 minutes opening the product before they talk about it.
Right.
You know, it's short to the point, and it's very like, here's the thing, here's why I like it, here's why it's good, price point, out the door, you know. So that being said, what got you started in the world of survival and preparedness before even, you know, Nick's Quick Reviews came about? What was young Nick Keene doing that set him along this path?
Running around in the woods, camping with my family, spending every chance I got outside, running in the streets and just not wanting to go in, you know, running in fields and woods and everything else.
Drinking out of the hose.
Yeah.
Yep. Good stuff. So was there someone specific, like was it your dad or your grandfather or something that kind of put you in that lifestyle?
My pops introduced me to camping around 7.5, 8 years old, and it was off to the races after that. I was locked in. We went to Lilydale campsite at Dale Hollow, which is down like on the Kentucky-Tennessee border, and I was ruined after that. I was on it.
Yeah, that's similar story with me. You know, I was camping since before I can remember. One of the first pictures of me is up at our family's campsite. And I feel like when when you start camping from an early age, it kind of starts to put you in the mindset of learning the bushcraft stuff to start making camping a little easier on you, and learning these cool tricks. And also, that being said, you start, you know, I think everybody has their story of they started trying to cut wood and the hatchet broke or the axe broke or whatever it is. So it kind of starts making you pay attention more to gear and quality stuff, you know, that you want to have with you so it doesn't fail. Yeah. So that's kind of the perfect segue into like what got you started in Nick's Quick Reviews. Was it just a love of gear?
Actually, that camping trip, we were on a trail and he found a little Boy Scout knife, an old school Remington Boy Scout knife with the blade, all the can opener and the little screwdriver on it. And it had a little emblem on it with the Boy Scout emblem, said, "Be prepared." And we cleaned it up, and I carried that for a long time. And that's kind of what bit me and gave me like the gear bug. Like, ooh, I like knives. I like having this little tool with me. And that was kind of how I learned, you know, knife safety and don't do stuff with it you're not supposed to. I still got it to this day. So
that's awesome. That's that's cool. Such a cool way to kind of to get. I get how that could give you the bug for sure.
Yeah, that started it, and then I would go in his Field and Stream magazines and look in the back, and I found a ad where you could send off for like Smoky Mountain Knife Works catalogs and A.G. Russell catalogs, and I just sit there and flip through them, and just when I get older, I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna get this.
Yeah.
So yeah, a little wish list, you know.
Oh yeah. I feel like we've all been there. We've all had that, you know, kind of the gear you look at and you're like, oh man, when I can get that, it's going to be next level, you know?
Yeah. Someday.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's so that being said, then getting into the video reviews, I know you have it wasn't Nick's Quick Reviews right away. You did another project at first as well, right?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I can't even remember what the name of it was when it first started, but I started reviewing what got me going on it was my buddy Mike Jeffries. He's a knife maker here in Louisville, and we were having a conversation. We were to get together and we start talking. He's like, "Yeah, I make knives or whatever." I was like, "Interesting," because I'm obsessed with knives. I said, maybe I could have you make something for me sometime. And what I had in mind at the time was like a similar, like a Groman Russell, Canadian belt knife style knife, with the elliptical blade and the
Hmm.
kind of grip, almost like a little Skinner, like a Canadian belt knife. And he
Yeah.
said, I don't really want to copy anybody else's pattern or design. He said, why don't you draw one up with the features that you want, and we'll bounce ideas back and forth until you find something that works for you. I said, all right. So put pen to paper and come up with something. And the first one we made was called the Wood Booger, and it was sort of like almost like a Nessmuck-ish type skinning knife, but not as curvy as a Nessmuk. It was more of like
Okay.
a small, like pocket EDC fixed blade sort of style. And I drew it, and he made this knife that looked exactly like the drawing. Totally brought it to life. It was awesome, and that set us on the path to. I think we did 6 or 8 more after that. Just just kept cranking them out, and I would take and use those knives and test them on video, and that's what the initial videos on the YouTube channel started off as, was testing those knives to bring attention to them and show the YouTube audience just how good those knives were.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
super cool. Yeah. Getting that first, like you were part of the whole process then. Like that's
Oh
really cool, helping
yeah,
design them and then getting to test them. That's awesome.
yeah. It was
I
definitely
know.
awesome to see what worked and what didn't, and
Yeah.
refine it.
Yeah, and I know sure you understand it. It's so hard to find something really like we talk about it here a lot is I try to toe the line of quality and price point, you know.
Mhm.
I've been super impressed even by the stuff that Walmart's doing now. We talked yesterday a bit, but Swiss Tech,
Yeah.
the knife that I've been using now is a Walmart knife, and I think it was $60, and
Yep.
I'm not easy on knives
Right.
whatsoever. They're pry bars, screwdrivers, they cut, they this, they that, they're in the water, they're everywhere,
They're a tool.
and exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't have many shelf queens. I might soon. I might have one that I'll want to put it through its paces because I know it can do it. But Button Hook Forge, man, we've talked
Yeah.
about them before. Those knives are gorgeous. The
Yes, they.
keys, I want one of those, dude, real bad.
Yeah, they're slick. I saw somebody
Yeah.
talking one in the comment section the other day talking about the button hook because I think it was the dude from All Mountain Systems was asking what's the one thing you take with you, and they
Yep.
mentioned, I think that was who mentioned Button Hook Forge in the
Yeah.
comments.
Yeah. He's getting out there because I mean he puts out a quality product and for what it is, like the price isn't crazy. Like
Right, right.
it
Nice,
ain't
made
no
in America.
$20 knife, but I don't think you'll have to buy one like that ever again. You
No,
know?
that's like heirloom. Like you give that to your children when you pass.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And it's cool to have within this group we're starting to build. I feel like we have Heath Ward, of course, and Jason from All Mountain Systems, Button Hook Forge, Stetler Survival. I feel like we're building a cool little community here, and that's been such a cool thing. I'm sure for you as well, but in my part is I feel like a lot of the time the survival stuff or preparedness stuff is there's gatekeeping's a cheesy thing to say, but it's kind of done in a vacuum a little bit, and everybody has an opinion, and if it's not yours, you're wrong.
Yeah.
And to be able to all bounce off of each other and to be learning even from each other while we're trying to, you know, teach or review gear and stuff is such an awesome thing.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And you got to include Hoosier Bushcraft in that too. They're doing a
There's your
lot.
Bushcraft as well. Yeah.
Um,
You know, I
uh,
go ahead.
McGeezy Outdoors. You familiar with them? Yep. Art
I'm
Art
I've heard of
that
them.
whole.
Um, Hoosier Bushcraft, I've been meaning to. I'd love to get them on the show and sit down and talk with them. I know they do. I think we started right around a similar time doing this format of show, Their
Okay.
first episode came out. I would love to sit down and talk with those guys as well.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
good group of people
'cause-
for sure.
yeah, I've watched their episodes and everything. They similar mindset for sure. And
Yep.
the more we can connect with people, I feel like the more we'll get done. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And because on my part anyway, it's about conveying information and just helping people be prepared. You know,
For
I
sure.
don't feel like that should be any sort of there's no restrictions on that. You know, it just shouldn't matter any, political thing or whatever it is. Just the individual being prepared is such a simple thing to get behind. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And it's just been cool to be able to do it all together. And
Definitely.
So I know what your answer is going to be here, and I'm sure, and it goes with the community side of things. But what's one piece of gear that you've gotten recently that you're obsessed with that you can't sit down?
Um, honestly, it's that Inferno cord from All Mountain Systems.
Yep.
I've done 3 or 4 different little videos on it, just using it in different ways, breaking it down to see just how much use you can wring out of it. And it's just
Uh-huh.
got so much value packed into such a small economical package that it's really it's a winner for sure. It's a home run. So what I
Dude,
did
I
was when I got into it, I gave my daughter a pack for her fire kit. I took a pack and you know how it comes in the 3 different sections, not
uh
including the 2 long or the 4 long strands. But I took one baggie, I put it in my personal fire kit. I took one, I put it in my truck bag, and I took one and put it in my work bag, just so I always
yeah,
got some on. So
yeah, I did the same thing. That's so funny.
yep,
We got I bought the initial Inferno cord, and that's already in my survival bag, my main bag. I actually got the fire kit and his N34 or N38 survival kit that I reviewed for him as well, and that both of them have a bunch more in it too. And not to mention the fact that's awesome, which I'm sure you're carrying too. These camp and trail kits, man, super
yep,
cool.
yep, yep. I've been carrying that since I got it. And what I do is, with my work pants, I wear cargo pants, so I keep a SWAT T tourniquet on my left side, and I keep the camp and trail pack on my right side. And just the way I told him, I said, what I'll do is I'm just going to EDC it every single day,
Uh-huh.
and every time I reach for it to do something, to repair something or to get use out of it, I'm just going to make a short video about it. And I used the first one. As soon as I got it, I wound up cutting myself with a new knife on accident. I
Uh-huh.
slipped, dropped it, and I tried to catch it like a genius, and it cut my hand open. So I had to get into the medical section of the kit. And then I just did a video, I think day before yesterday. A dog jumped up and grabbed my hoodie with his teeth and did a big rip down the middle of the back of it. So I'm into the utility section of it and using the sewing kit to repair the hoodie. So that'll be a video that'll be on the channel, I don't know, in the next few days at some point. So it's
That's
definitely
awesome.
useful. It's definitely useful.
Yeah, and what a great way to go about reviewing it too. Because
Yeah, just
that's
try to keep it practical, you know?
that's one thing that I feel like when you're introducing people into this world, which I'm going to be doing this weekend. We have our first class. We're doing a micro survival kit class and
Right.
having people build it. And I've in the past even had people ask me, like, oh, well, what's something we're doing them in like Altoids size tins,
Right.
and people are like, well, what's that really going to do? And I'm like, I actually have a crazy story about it because Stetler Survival started out of a love for just survival gear and all this stuff. I at the time had no idea I was going to be instructing and teaching and all this, and uh, so at the time it was first we were actually making kits and selling micro kits,
Yeah.
and my uncle had picked up a couple of them, and he gave one to his buddy who was going on a rafting trip, and lo and behold, he's somewhere down a river, capsizes, loses everything except he had tucked it into his wetsuit, these kits we made.
Yeah.
So he was able to, he lost his phone, all this. So he was able to get a fire started, get himself warm, and a couple other little things out of just this little kit, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like people kind of misjudge what preparedness can be. You know, it's not like even the name of the show, The Bunker, is kind of tongue in cheek in a way, because I feel like everybody thinks of people who are into preparedness or survival as they're sitting down in their bunker, hiding, waiting for the bombs to drop, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Dude, it's as easy as, hey, I cut my thing, I got a boo boo, and I have the stuff to just cover it. Or, you
Right.
know, my kid, our daughter ran through at last year trout fishing. She ran through something stinging and was able to, you know, take that pain away. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
You know, and those everyday little things that, you know, normally you have to be like, oh, well, when I get home, I'll fix that, or I have to go to the doctor or the, you know, go to the pharmacy to pick something up. You don't have to do that. You're prepared in
Right.
in a lot of different ways, you know.
And the prices are right on them for sure.
Dude, like what, $15?
Yeah. Yep.
Dude, I'd pay at least double. I was talking.
You ought to raise that up a little bit. I mean, that's.
I know. I was telling I was talking to Jason about it when he was when he was putting it out, and he was like, yeah, $15, and then I got my hands on it. I'm like, dude, 15, but like I sold, man. That's awesome. That
a
is
lot
so
of small package.
absolutely, absolutely. So moving on from a new piece of gear, but what's one piece of gear you got on you at all times? You can't live without. If that's all you got on you, we know that Nick has this item on him.
Fixed blade knife. This is
Yes,
Joker Trampero, and I love this thing. This is basically my heavy duty knife, my full tang, flat ground stainless steel knife, my Carter handles. You're not gonna mess this thing up. My preference is to have a fixed blade that is stainless with a high flat grind for food prep and for fine work, but also keep a carbon steel fixed blade like the Morneve Bushcraft Black that's a Scandi grind and a carbon steel, just so that way you got the best of both worlds. That's my preference. But this I've been carrying this thing, and it's not super expensive. It's like $80, and it has been an absolute tank. There's several videos on the channel about it, and it's been excellent since I got it. So, matter of fact, I basically liquidated most of my collection, and one of the fixed blades I kept was this and the Morneve Bushcraft Black and a Two Birds Metalworks smaller pocket fixed blade.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, I joke with the wife all the time, and she's always came home with another knife. Yeah, I was like, honey, listen, it's this or I'm buying a new gun. So like one of those is cheaper, and it's the knife 9 times out of 10.
Hey, I'll tell you what. With these reviews, it's tough not to have them follow me home, because I'm down at Red Hill Cutlery doing 20, 30 reviews, and I'm handling 20 or 30 knives every time I go down there. And I'm like, man, these are really nice. I'd really like to take about half of these home with me.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's not feasible. So, you got to pick and choose.
I joke because we do primarily, I think I do most of my shopping at Tractor Supply. We joke, I get all this stuff for my chickens, our rabbits. I think most of my clothes come from Tractor Supply, all that kind of stuff. And you get so many coupons all the time shopping there, and they have decent knife selection. So
for sure,
not only do they mark stuff down all the time and are on special, but then you get these coupons. I'm like, well, how couldn't I? It was $10 now. How couldn't I come home with another? You know what I mean?
Right, for sure.
Yeah.
I feel your pain.
Yeah, man. Yeah. They're the worst hobbies to have. Yeah. So let's let's throw out a theoretical here. You're stuck out in the wilderness of the woods in Kentucky, right? You have 5 items you can take with you. What is Nick Keen's 5 items he definitely wants to have on him in a survival situation?
Honestly, it's going to be, I'm going to follow Dave Canterbury's advice. It's the 5 C's: cutting, combustion, cordage, container, and cover. Because it's going to keep you warm. It's going to provide for you to make more items that you might need to get yourself out of that situation. It's going to provide for you. I definitely rather have cordage than try to sit there and braid whatever kind of fibers I can find. Like, let's be real. I'd rather have a spool of paracord or bank line or something like that. And then as far as containers, I'm gonna be able to boil my water, make sure I don't get sick or catch some kind of bug from drinking contaminated water. I mean, he's got it down with the 5 C's
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, Mr. Canterbury, one of the greats. I have every I think every book he's written. Bushcraft 101, Advanced Bushcraft, Trapping and Gathering, and the Bushcraft First Aid
Nice.
book. I've definitely read all of those. He's one of the greats for sure.
Yeah,
And I love
I got the
what you say.
bushcraft first aid, but I don't think I have the trapping one. But yeah, I try to study them all and take a little bit from each one. Him, Kephart, Nesmuk, just the giants in the field that have all the foundation basically.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely, and that's the way you learn. You know what I mean? Other people are doing. Somebody else did it first, and you just have to, you follow in those footsteps, and you take the good from each one.
Oh yeah, there's one. I don't know if you can still find it or not, but it's Steve Watts, Practicing Primitive, and it is a
Okay.
great book. And it's when I say foundation, I'm talking about flint knapping and Stone Age up to current. When it says practicing primitive, it's legit practicing primitive. It's
Oh
making your
yeah.
tools and everything from the ground up.
That's funny because I've been wanting to get into some more, um, primitive stuff with the boy, and
Yeah.
it's been a while since I've done it. I mean I have obviously, but I'm curious. He's mastered the ferro rod now, and I think he might think that that's the end all be all of the more primitive stuff. But nope, I'm gonna give you two sticks, buddy. Rub them together till something happens.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna be fun.
I brought home some bamboo. I've been wanting to try a friction fire with bamboo, like a fire plow. I haven't
Yeah,
got around to it yet, but I've been wanting to try it. So that's probably next on my list after it
that's
dries
so
out.
fun. That's so funny. I have bamboo up in the garage right now for that reason.
There you go.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I was looking into that, and I messed with it the one night. I started too, a little too late, and I was like, all right, no, I'm gonna start this tomorrow. And now that was like a week and a half ago. But yeah, that it's definitely interesting to see all these primitive ways that people have
Yeah.
done fire for so long. We
Yeah.
take it so for granted. You can flick a bic and you're ready to go, but there's a lot of time between the people discovering fire and that. So
Oh yeah. That
so
when we did the fire kit giveaway, that was one of the things I wanted to include, and so that's why I reached out to All Mountain Systems was to get the Inferno cord and a ferro rod from it was a Coughlin's ferro rod, so that way there was a modern fire making, where you can make fire real quick in an emergency, but there was also a primitive aspect to it. So I went and got some horsehoof fungus, which is like a mushroom that grows that they would use to, once you threw your spark into it or got an ember into it, it would just hold that ember for a long time.
they would
And
use that to transport it a lot.
yeah, ancient people would transport it over long distance and they'd still have their fire and not have to remake it all over again. It would just sit there and smolder. So
Yeah.
I packed a piece of that I harvested, and then some birch bark and number 36 bank line, tar bank line, and a what do you call it? It was a condor. It was designed by Matt Graham, and it was a condor bearing block. So that way they can push down when they're doing a bow drill fire, they can apply their pressure down. But I didn't put the hearth board or the spindle in it because when I did the drawing, I didn't know who was going to win. I didn't know what state they were in. And different states got different wood. If you're here, it's tulip poplar. Is what I like to
Yeah.
use is tulip poplar and like red cedar spindle. But I didn't know where it was going to land, so I was like, well, they can go harvest that, and then you got a whole kit. You got a modern kit and a primitive kit you can practice with. So that was the idea behind that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's such a good idea too. It is great to learn both of those avenues, and that I feel like really when you start to get good with stuff like a ferro rod, it just becomes such second nature to you that devolving back to stuff like that, it really becomes more of an interest.
Yeah, Flint and Steel's my favorite to this day. Flint and Steel's my favorite, but Ferrell is good in an emergency. You know, if everything gets wet, you can just take that thing and run it through your hair, dry it off, and you're good to go. So
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. So, it being said, with those 5 items, we actually like to throw a little zinger at everybody on each episode. Now, we've had someone say so you get to pick one bougie item to bring with you.
okay.
And we have said, we've gotten Mr. Heath Ward said he'd like a nice juicy steak. I said I would love to have a way to listen to music. I believe All Mountain Systems said, I feel like he said a lighter, like a Bic, like a regular Bic lighter.
Yeah.
We've gotten air conditioning. What would Nick Keen's one bougie item be? If you could airdrop something fancy to yourself in the bush, what are you bringing?
I'm in Kentucky, so it's going to be Bullet Rye, Green Label.
There you go, sir. You know, and that takes care of that cover for you because that keeps you plenty warm, right?
It's real nice when you're sitting by a fire.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's a good answer, my man. Good answer. I like it. I like it. So, Nick, if this is the first time someone watching our show is finding out about Nick's Quick Reviews, where can they check you out if they want to get some of the best damn reviews that I've seen on gear?
Okay, so you go to YouTube, you just type in Nick's Quick Reviews, just like it sounds. My name, Quick Reviews, because that's what it is. We try to take the perspective of a customer going into a knife shop for the first time or picking out a knife. And if you're online, you're seeing measurements, you're just seeing the knife. With this, you're actually from the customer's perspective, going in, talking to the clerk at the store, and he's showing you the knife, showing you how it functions, telling you what type of steel it is, how it opens, how it closes, how it looks in the hand, how it feels in the hand. And so it's just trying to give people a little bit better idea of what they're getting. So you go to YouTube, punch in Nick's Quick Reviews. If you see a knife that you like in the RHC Quick Talk series, if you go to the description, we have a coupon code. If you go under that, that's the link to the knife that we're reviewing in it. So it's a one-stop shop pretty much.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I love what you're doing, man. Looking forward to continuing building this community we have of great folks, and hopefully at some point we can all kind of get some big meetup going. I know Heath Ward's been talking about it, but that'd be a hell of a camping trip. You bring the Kentucky whiskey and then we'll figure it out.
For sure. Yeah, we also got a Facebook page that's under the same name. It's a public page. It's Nick's Quick Reviews. So if you go to that and just add on and you're in there, and that's got a little bit different content than what's on the YouTube channel. It's a little more, and like when we do giveaways and raffles and stuff like that, or if we got like an event that we're gonna be attending, doing pocket checks and stuff, that's where we announce. So just to keep up on the latest, it's the Facebook page, Nick's Quick Reviews, or the Facebook group rather, and for the videos, it's Nick's Quick Reviews on YouTube.
Fantastic, man. And guys, that'll all be down in the link description of this video. So guys, until next time, we look forward to having a lot more great conversations with folks just like Nick Keen. I'm sure this won't be your last time in the bunker, my man.
For sure.
But until then, guys, we'll see you in the bunker.
I appreciate you having me.
Appreciate you being on, my man.